WDGL HD2. Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA 21 12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Waiting to rise again.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Football Friday. It means we're brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Got Jacob Beck and Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos, and we are fired up to get you ready for a football weekend in South Louisiana. LSU hosts Nicholls, Saints hosting the Panthers. Hopefully a couple wins forthcoming here for the Tigers and the Saints. We're talking about all of it over the next 2 hours. Preston Guy will be with us in 15 minutes to talk LSU. We'll get back to our NFL tiers segment, kind of previewing the weekend that is in the National Football League. My SEC picks against the spread coming up in hour number 2. We'll break down Saints and Panthers, take it or leave it, final pick. All that coming at you over the next 2 hours, so let's rock and roll. Got a little bit of news yesterday from Brian Kelly. The report was out, obviously, on Wednesday that John Emery Jr. had unfortunately torn his ACL, and Brian Kelly reacted to that in his press conference yesterday.
Sometimes you think about this and it just wonder, how can this be fair in any way to this poor kid? I mean, he's just overcome so many obstacles, and he's in a non-contact situation, and he sticks his foot in the ground and he tears his knee up, and so it was just so disappointing. He had surgery today, successful surgery, and Prince did. Princeton Malbrew had surgery today, so obviously we've lost both of them. But yeah, it was so disappointing, and we feel so bad for him and his family. But John has overcome so much. We're so proud of what he's accomplished in getting his degree from LSU, and he's going to be successful in life. And we'll see what the future holds for him.
That's the way it usually happens with those ACL injuries. It's usually a non-contact deal. Sometimes you get hit and it goes, but more often than not, it's a non-contact deal, and that was the case here. And it was the same case in the Florida game. We certainly didn't see this injury in practice on Tuesday, but we did see the one in the game last year against Florida. And it's just a tough deal. We talked about it yesterday, and certainly thinking about John, it's a road to recovery, but he's done it once and he'll do it again. As far as the football side of it for LSU, it doesn't change anything really for Josh Williams and Caleb Jackson. Those are the two guys that LSU intended on using the most in the game on Sunday. That's not my opinion. That was told to me. So that was what they intended to do. It just turned out that Emory had the two biggest runs of the night. But those are going to be the main two guys, and those two guys are capable of being a quality SEC running back duo. Very rarely do you talk about the third and fourth backs on a football team. It's usually the top two. Josh Williams is a proven commodity in the SEC. He's not going to be a home run hitter, but he's going to get you what's blocked. He's going to be in the right place. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's a quality SEC back. He's not Leonard Fournette or Jeremy Hill. Caleb Jackson needs to get rolling, and last week was disappointing. Now, I have talked about the offensive line all week, and we'll continue to talk about the offensive line moving into next week. I don't really care what they do tomorrow because that's inconsequential against an FCS opponent. But I'd like to see Caleb Jackson get moving. A lot of people thought he looked slow and heavy on Sunday. I don't know. He never got going, so how am I supposed to know if he's slow or heavy? He never had anywhere to go. Like, his long run on 6 carries was 4 yards. It's hard for me to tell if somebody's slow when the farthest they get beyond the line of scrimmage is 4 yards. Somebody busts a 20-yarder and the defensive end runs them down. Well, that looks a little slow. You run into the line of scrimmage and have nowhere to go. I'm not sure how slow and out of shape you look. Brian Kelly said earlier this week that he carries that weight really well. He's gotten up to 21.5 miles an hour with that 235. So we'll see him get moving tomorrow. Like, you'll see against Nicholls him break into the open field. That's bound to happen at some point. And we'll see how he looks doing that. But those two guys are going to be your main two backs. Emory was going to be number 3. He's not. So now Caden Durham is the number 3 back. I'm excited about Caden Durham's future here in Baton Rouge. I think he is an all-SEC type talent because I love speed at the tailback position. Yeah, it's awesome to get those tough yards, to be a bruiser on 3rd and 1 and in the goal line, and you have to have that. But speed's exciting, and Caden Durham's got a ton of speed. He is a legit track star from the state of Texas. He ran on the 4x100 team at Duncanville, which is an elite track program as well as a football program, and he's got unbelievable speed, and we're going to see him in the game tomorrow. And Brian Kelly talked about his freshman running back who's now going to be thrust into some situations that maybe weren't the case as of last week.
He'll be involved. He had a good week. And, I think all 3 backs, really what we tried to do is tailor the offense for them in terms of giving them the kind of plays that they feel really comfortable with and setting the offense accordingly for those 3 guys. So, we feel really good about where we're at. And obviously, we'd love to have John. Obviously, that's not going to be the case moving forward. And maybe we'll investigate, moving forward. Is there another, candidate for that position? But that's where we're at right now, and we feel good about it.
We've talked about Dominic McKinley's readiness on the defensive front. We've talked about young players in the secondary, whether it's Deshaun Spears or P.J. Woodland, some of those guys. And some of those spots are really tough to come into. It's hard to play on the interior defensive line as a freshman. It's hard to play on the offensive line as a freshman. It's potentially really difficult to go out there in the secondary and run with USC's receivers and Lincoln Riley's scheme. As far as a freshman taking reps against Nicholls at running back, that's really doable. And I'm okay with Caden Durham being out there. I have no idea how well-rounded a back Caden Durham is. You turn on his highlight tape, they hand him the ball, and he runs wind sprints through Texas high school football teams. He's blowing huge plays constantly. In the state championship game in Arlington, he was busting long runs. He had over 200 yards at halftime in that game. I don't see a lot of pass protection. I don't see a ton of him catching the ball out of the backfield. I don't know how well he reads blocks and cuts. I don't know how well he deals with plays changing to the line of scrimmage. I know he's fast and he runs the ball really well. So I have no idea how well-rounded things are, but they got to put him out there in this game to allow him to make some mistakes, to allow him to be in that environment and understand what is asked of him. I would like my idea for Caden Durham would be to get him the ball on the edge. Get him the ball in some tosses, get him the ball where he's just getting ahead of steam and trying to find his way upfield. Not as much read option where you got to communicate with Garrett Nussmeier. He might pull it, he might not. Zone blocking where you got to find your hole. I'd like to kind of get him on the edge and get him moving. Maybe toss him a swing pass, get him involved in a screen that's an easy catch, turn and run. I'd like to see some of that stuff from Caden Durham coming up in the game. I'm really excited about his future at LSU. I think he can be a really, really good back because he's got something you can't really teach. He's just incredibly fast. He looks undersized when you look at the roster sheet because he's only 5'9", and he's just over 200 pounds. But when you look at him, he is pretty well put together. He's got a low center of gravity, and I don't think he's too small at this point in his career to play. So, again, Josh Williams and Caleb Jackson are the top 2 dudes, and they're the first guys you're going to see on Saturday night. But Caden Durham's going to get the football, and I'll be watching for that because I'm excited to see what he can do for LSU in this game. The surprising news yesterday was that LSU's made a position change at running back. I had hinted that maybe Xavier Thomas would go back there. He's a veteran. He's an incredible playmaker. He's got some quicks. They handed him the ball in the game on Sunday on some jet action, and they still may do some of that, but I thought he might back up and play some running back. That's not the case. They're going to leave him out at wide receiver. They are moving a freshman back to running back who was a defensive player, and that's Juwan Johnson. And Kelly talked about moving him from the star position on defense back to tailback.
We moved Juwan Johnson to running back. So he's getting some carries and touches this week, and I think he's going to win the Heisman. No, he's not going to. I'm just kidding with you. But he's going to play some running back for us, and he gives us the 4th back and gives us a little bit more balance there. And, he's an exciting player. He can do a lot of things. We felt like we could shuffle some things around on the defensive side of the ball and begin to get him involved. There's a learning curve on some of those things, but certainly I think he can do some things for us this weekend.
Let me read you the first line of Juwan Johnson's bio on LSUsports.net. The most productive high school quarterback in Louisiana prep history. That's how they introduce him. And it's not wrong because at his time at Lafayette Christian, he set a state record for yards and touchdowns. He accounted for 14,451 yards in his high school career. He accounted for 171 touchdowns. Both are state records. He was Mr. Football in 2023, and they wanted him to play at that star position right behind Major Burns, and he was running with the twos all camp long. But he's an incredible athlete. And I'm not telling you right now he's ready to go play running back in the SEC. He hasn't run with the offense at all until this week. So probably not. There's a lot of terminology he's got to learn, a lot of things he's got to do, and he's not taking snaps anymore. He'd be running the football. So right now, I don't see Juwan Johnson as a viable option at the tailback spot today. Right this minute, 1:10 on Friday afternoon, September the 6th. Like, he's not ready to go. Can he be ready to help you a little bit in a month if another running back goes down? Maybe. It's not exactly what you want to have happen, but he is a really good athlete. He's listed at 5'11", 203, so he's a little bit taller than Caden Durham, about the same weight, and he's an exciting player. So this is just one of those deals where they're trying to create depth. They got too thin. Last week I told you that Frank Wilson felt good about having 4 backs. He thought 4 is enough. He thought 8 was a bigger problem, having too many, than 4 having not enough. Because at 8, there's one football. There's only one guy out there at a time, usually, maybe 2, and you can't keep everybody happy when there's 8. And they had 8 in camp last year. Well, 4 he felt really good about. I think 3 is okay if you know you have those 3. But the problem is you don't know that. Somebody could go down. You tweak an ankle, heaven forbid something like what happens to John Emery happens, and all of a sudden you don't have enough guys. 2 running backs is not enough running backs. So they moved Juwan Johnson as an insurance policy. It sounds really fun. It sounds like you're playing NCAA football 25 and you pull the 96 speed guy off the defense and put him at running back and toss him the ball, and that's super fun in video games. This is not a video game. It's real life, and there's a lot of adjustments that go into the tailback spot. I mean, last year, Caleb Jackson wasn't really ready to play running back in the SEC, and he's been a running back his whole life. Juwan Johnson's been a quarterback in high school who's been playing defense for a month and a half, and now he's got to go out there and learn the offense. So I would imagine he knows 4 or 5 plays right now, and they will get him those 4 or 5 plays in the fourth quarter when it's 68-7 coming up on Saturday night. But as far as like being in there in the first quarter and knowing all the checks and everywhere to be and understanding pass protection and protection slides and what guy you're responsible for and what the quarterbacks do, like, I don't think he can probably handle all that today. This is purely a depth move in case something happens. And the downside of it is that Juwan loses that development time on defense. He's not going to be a running back full-time. LSU, while they lose John Emery and they're going to lose Josh Williams after this year, you've got Caleb Jackson, you've got Caden Durham, you're bringing in Trey Holly, bringing in another back in this class, and they'll probably add one in the transfer portal. And Juwan Johnson will go back to defense. The bummer is he's going to lose this year of development on defense, and that's a negative for him. But as a football team, like, you got to have a tailback. And if one of these other guys goes down for a month or longer, like, you don't have enough guys. So they've got to have another option. Juwan Johnson's going to be that guy. It'll be exciting when he touches the ball on Saturday because he's an electrifying playmaker with the ball in his hands, the most productive in the history of Louisiana. But he's probably not ready right this second. It's a disappointing spot for Frank Wilson and his position group, but they'll react to it as necessary. So that's your start of the show. Brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. I want to remind you about this. Tailgating tomorrow. If you'd like to bring some Corks out to the tailgate or for a watch party at your home, let them know today. They are happy to handle your catering orders. They're happy to feed in bulk. They're fantastic at it. Kuyon's across the river has done a great job catering for a decade now. Paul and Michael, who started that over in Port Allen, have started up Corks. Catering is right in their wheelhouse. So if you're looking for some delicious food to bring out to campus or to have at your house for a game watching party, whether it's LSU or the Saints, Corks is a fantastic option. Go to the website, corksfishandshrimp.com. Check out what you want and make that order today so they can have it ready to bring out to campus tomorrow. We're off and running now. Preston Guy from TigerBait.com coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Always love telling you about my friends at Evolve Physical Therapy and Sports, EvolvePT.com. Thought it was AVSS, but we're talking about Evolve. I was waiting for it to pop up on the screen, quite honestly. They're fantastic. If you're hurt or you've been injured and you're looking to get back to being your active self, Evolve Physical Therapy and Sports is the place you want to be. They are hands-on from the time you walk in to the time you walk out, and they're going to get you back to being your active self. It's not age specific. Could be a youth athlete, could be someone 60s or 70s trying to get back on the tennis court or back to running every day like you want to. But if you have pain and can't do it, Evolve Physical Therapy is the place to be. Robbie Bolton's been doing this for 20 years. They're on Starring near Highland Road, right there near Sammy's Grill. Go on by and see them and make sure that you get to being your active self. They can do dry needling, they can do cupping, they can do the isokinetic testing. All that can be done right there in their building. It's Evolve Physical Therapy and Sports. Check them out online, evolvept.com.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Rolling along on a Football Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, presented by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. We'll get you ready for the rest of the NFL slate coming up here in 15 minutes. We're still sticking with the college game for now. Preston Guy, TigerBait.com, talking Tigers. Joins us every Friday on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Preston, how we doing?
Wet, muggy, a little bit hot, but the word on the street is that ends tomorrow, so we'll see.
Look, I'll give you wet and a little bit muggy. I'm not going to give you hot in September when it's like in the 80s right now. Like it could be much, much worse at this point in the calendar.
Okay, but that's just because it's cloudy. Okay,
yes.
Like if the sun goes away, we're back up to if the sun comes out, we're back up to 95. So relatively speaking, still hot, huh? Okay?
Look, I'm fired up that the high's 85 tomorrow. That's as good as I can wish for the home opener. That's got 98 written all over it. I'll take 85 every single day. So I'm excited to get out to campus tomorrow. Should be a great weather day and an opportunity for fans to get out into Tiger Stadium and see this team. Unfortunately, not going to see John Emery. Just devastating news earlier this week that he's going to be out for the season with another ACL tear. What was your reaction when you heard that?
Tumultuous just seems like the most accurate word I can find, but that just doesn't even seem to capture it. You know, his career has been like a crazy train of everything happening, and the saddest part about it is availability is the best ability. And for John Emery, most of his career hasn't been available. It's just unbelievable luck. It's a combination of luck and maybe some issues fumbling the ball. I mean, but it's just been crazy. I feel awful for the kid, and I hope somehow, some way, at this point, I don't even care where it's at. I hope he has a bounce back. I hope he's able to get a good, happy ending to his story at this point. Who knows? Maybe the NCAA will let him play another year. They got a kid from Miami who's in his 8th year of eligibility, but that's awful. In terms of impact for LSU, yes, he had a good game for LSU. I was kind of unpopular when I was telling people. I was like, look, if you break it down, he had 10 carries for 61 yards. 39 came on one play.
Yep.
And it was really one of the few good holes the offensive line made that day. And I wonder, like, was it really that John Emery hit it hard and ran well? Sure, he ran just fine, but I feel like any of the other running backs could have also made that play. If you take that away, I mean, he's got 9 carries for 22 yards, which is right with what the rest of the guys are doing. So I don't know that it hurts your depth-wise, but I don't know that he was substantially better than Caleb Jackson or Josh Williams. But, you still needed him. You still needed him there. Caden Durham is looking like he's going to be next man up now for LSU.
Do they have enough talent at running back? I know they don't have enough guys. Do they have enough talent if everybody stays healthy?
Yeah, they don't have enough bodies, but they do have enough talent. I felt much better about that answer 7 days ago than I did today, but I still think Caleb Jackson's a freak waiting to bust out. They asked Brian Kelly about his playing weight, 235. Actually, Mike Scarborough asked him about that. And he said, no, he's good. His speed is still high. I think he said 22 miles an hour at practice. So he's still good. It just didn't happen for whatever reason. He only had 6 carries in the game. And I find it hard to judge a player on 6 carries, especially when the offensive line isn't blocking the way you really would like to see them. So we'll see. Caden Durham is a guy I'm very excited to see. He's one of the fastest players on the team, one of the fastest players to come out of the state of Texas. And Jawan Johnson moved his number to 8. He's going to be playing running back. That's a very interesting move. As we know, he really made a name for himself here in the LHSAA, playing offense, playing quarterback, where he ran the ball a bunch. So that's a move that makes a lot of sense. I would keep my eyes out for maybe a guy like a Jelani Watkins, who's a track star playing wide receiver, who's probably going to redshirt anyways this year. I mean, you telling me you can't put the ball in his hands and say, go run, Bottle Rocket?
I thought Xavier Thomas might be a candidate to go back there and carry the ball a little bit. That was kind of where my head was in an emergency earlier this week. But I'm interested in seeing Jawan Johnson carry the football because he's such an exciting player. Let's go back to the offensive line because you mentioned it. What did you make of their performance in the run game, and can they improve?
Yeah, I especially watching the film, just wasn't great. But I'm really watching this film. I'm like, man, USC's defensive line and front seven as a whole, not just because their linebackers gave them hell too. They looked really good to me. And if you look at the defensive line coach that USC hired, we're talking about a guy who coached Aaron Donald for the LA Rams. This is a guy who's been around and done some good things on the defensive line. I really think this is a story about USC being good. That being said, you're supposed to be the best offensive line. Doesn't matter if they're really good. You're supposed to take care of them. So it was disappointing. It was disappointing across the board. Pass blocking I thought was good, with the exception of the 4th and 3 play.
Yep.
Where they let a linebacker come up the A-gap unimpeded, and that resulted in taking 7 points off the board, essentially. But outside of that, they were elite passing the ball. It was just simply run blocking was mediocre. There really wasn't much all night long.
Is this a finesse offense?
I think they want to be. I think they were trying to force an identity that they weren't ready for. They want to cram it up cram it up the gut, run the ball, but I don't know that they have the guys to do it. I think they should focus on a passing game. They were trying to establish a running game that would never get established. They should have taken their loss, adapted, and let Nussmeier cook, who Nussmeier was phenomenal. He made tons of plays. And if anything, get more vertical with your passing game. I never thought we would see Nussmeier under center and be like, they need to push the ball downfield more. But here we are.
I thought they moved the ball pretty well, even with the short passing game. They just didn't capitalize when they got into the red zone. So we'll see. Kind of the narrative this week on the other side of the ball with the defense is that there may be a youth movement coming in the secondary, throughout the secondary. Do you feel that way as the season wears on?
Yeah, I think that this is a perfect opportunity, especially got some safeties banged up. I'm looking at a heavy dose. This is one of those games where you're going to win. You don't really care if Nussmeier goes 13 for 13 for 3 touchdowns. You kind of know what the deal is, right? You are looking to see, okay, do guys struggle? If they struggle, that raises question marks. But what you're really looking for in these games is how do these young guys filling in that might be fighting for a starting spot look? I'm going to be looking for Kylan Jackson and Deshaun Spears early and often. How do they look? Do they look like they know where to line up? Are they ready to play big-time ball? I'll be keeping a heavy eye out for those two. And then on the offensive end, it's those young running backs I mentioned, Caden Durham and Jawan Johnson.
What about P.J. Woodland in the secondary? How do you feel about him?
Oh, he's right in there with him. He's absolutely – I think P.J. Woodland needs to start right now. I think he's better than Sage Ryan at corner. I think he showed me a lot. He got a pass interference call on him I didn't like. I felt like, the receiver really went into him for the ball, and he just kind of stood his ground. And it's like, what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to, get out of the way so the receiver can catch the ball? So I thought he played a very good game. He's very long, tall, and athletic. I just think with all three of those young DBs we're talking about right now, I think that, they need some time and maturation. Well, guess what? How do you get time and maturation? I don't know. How about Nicholls State? A game that you're probably going to be up early on and doing well. Go get them out there, let them play, let them grow up, let them become men in front of our eyes. That's what I'm looking for.
It's a results business. You got to win games, and they didn't win on Sundays, so that's the big story. But if you take that out of the equation and you just evaluate the play on the field, did you feel like the defense was improved? Like, do you feel differently today than you did last Saturday?
Yeah, no, they looked really good, and it's one of those things where I'm gonna say something painful here, and we're just going to all grunt and groan over it. This defense paired with last year's offense is probably, I don't even want to say what I think they're going to do, but it's a good season we all missed out on. Let's put it like this. I liked a lot. I still think the DBs need to improve. I mean, you still got cooked for almost 400 yards passing, but the defensive line looked really good. Linebackers, rock solid. It's just those DBs and the coverage really needs to improve. I think a big part of that is going to be getting these talented young players on the field and let them grow up, let them make their mistakes and do your thing. But, yeah, this is a much better defense. I mean, even the plays USC's making required so much effort. Think about the one-handed grab, which, by the way, there was a really big blown holding call on that play. It just was great plays that USC made, and that's what you wanted to see all last year. It's not even that, these teams are putting up as much yards and offense as they are. It's that they're not even doing high-effort plays. You're giving them everything, and they didn't give up much on Saturday. So that's the saddest part about this, Hunt. There was a lot to like on Saturday, but you didn't come up with a W, so it really doesn't matter.
Savion Jones had 2 sacks in the game. Can he be a 10-sack guy?
Boy, 7 days ago I would have laughed at you, but he could be. He looked, man, at Tiger Bait, we've been hyping him up for a long time. In fact, Mike Scarborough does his little ranking boards of the top players in state. He actually had him above Mason Smith, which no one did. He thought Savion Jones was a freak, so I thought Savion was due for a freak season last year, and it did not pan out. Boy, we were looking dumb. So hopefully he turns out a good season and plays to his potential. It really does look like coaching was, especially on the defensive line, was just abhorrent a year ago. And, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out, well, you were down to an interim coach coaching out of position for that, of course. And then you go to 2 of the best defensive line coaches in the country. Of course you should see improvement, but it doesn't always work that way. So, yeah, no, really like what I saw out of Savion Jones. Hoping we can see more 10 sacks. That's doable. It's doable.
Preston Guy every single Monday on YouTube, every Friday here, and you on the post-game show this weekend for Tiger Bait?
That's right. We'll be there usually about an hour after kickoff. You know, us writers, we got to write our stories and then go live. But we'll be there. Y'all come check us out.
Preston, we appreciate it. Have a good weekend, man.
Thanks, Hunt.
Preston Guy, tigerbait.com with us every single Friday. We'll come back and get you ready for the NFL slate. That's next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
We had a blast last night at LeBear's. The ESPN Bet Sportsbook ribbon cutting was fantastic. Great crowd. Awesome football game to watch. I even won a bet, which was fantastic. You got to make LeBear's Baton Rouge your game day headquarters this season. They got the biggest screens around. And now you can bet and dine at ESPN Bet in person. I want to tell you all about this Cover 5 SEC contest. You got to download the Pin Play app. You got to download the Cover 5 app, and you can compete against me in the Cover 5 contest. The code is LABRSEC24. Again, that's LABRSEC24. You pick 5 games from the SEC slate, compete against me, and you can win prizes each and every week. If you're not a member, get that Pin Play app today. LeBear's Baton Rouge Casino is your live sports headquarters. Got to be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966 for help.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has back-to-school savings like $16,000 off 25 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $16,000 off. All new Bayou vehicles come with a complimentary extended warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
NFL season got off to an unbelievable start last night. Fantastic game between the Chiefs and the Ravens. Toe decided it last night.
Who did you pick, by the way?
I had the Chiefs on the first half money line.
No, I'm talking about
on the show I had the Ravens.
You had the Ravens. You did. I had the Chiefs.
Nice job.
Yeah.
Nice pick.
Yeah, I know, right? It was. Hey, look, it was a tough choice, Hunt.
Look, I actually put money on the Chiefs at the sportsbook last night. I wasn't planning on it, but Rosher gave me a $20. So I was like, okay. So I bet the $20. I won like $19.50. I gave Rosher his $20 back, and then I got home and told my wife that I'd won $20, and she demanded that I give it to her. So she now has the $20, and I have no dollars. So
that's how
back where we started.
That's okay.
Let's get you ready as we do every single Friday for the NFL slate to come with our NFL tiers. Let's roll. All right, you know how it works. Tier 4 is the bad stuff, all the way to Tier 1, which is must-see TV. We start in Tier 4. The Patriots are at the Bengals. The Patriots are going to stink, y'all. They're missing 2 starting offensive linemen. And this is a great start for the Bengals because since Joe Burrow got there, they're 1-7 in weeks 1 and 2. They've been awful to start. You got to get off to a better start, especially if you're trying to catch home field advantage against the Chiefs. So hopefully the Bengals can take care of business, but that's going to be a bad football game. The Vikings and the Giants, that's also in Tier 4 because it's Sam Darnold against Danny Dimes. Sam Darnold's QBR since coming into the league is 42. That's the worst among the 26 quarterbacks with 50 starts over that time. He is bad. But we like the wide receivers in this matchup, don't we? Malik Neighbors, first game with the Giants, and Jets, rich dude for the Vikings. That's a lot of LSU flavor catching the football in that game. On to Tier 3, a little bit better, but still not great. The Cardinals are at the Bills. Buffalo lost 45% of their receiving yards from last year and 52% of their receiving touchdowns. Keon Coleman, Opelousas native, kind of stepping up there for Josh Allen and the Bills. Tier 3 continue. The Titans are at the Bears. Number 1 overall quarterback since David Carr won in 2002. 0-14-1 in their first start. That's what Caleb Williams is up against. I think the Bears are going to be good this year. I think they beat Tennessee coming up on Sunday. The Jaguars are at the Dolphins. This is an elite wide receiver game. The Jaguars have brought in Gabe Davis and Brian Thomas Jr. Of course, you know the Dolphins have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I like the Dolphins to get off to a good start in that battle of 2 Florida teams. The Raiders are at the Chargers. Harbaugh is back. And oh, by the way, he brings with him a 70% winning percentage as an NFL head coach. That is 5th all time. The Raiders were sneaky good against the spread last year, 12-5 against the number. They're catching points again this week. Might be worth a look there, although you probably stick with Jimmy Ott on all that. The Broncos are at the Seahawks. That's rounding out tier number 3. Bo Nix was named a team captain. He hasn't played a game yet for the Broncos. That's the first rookie quarterback to start the opener for Denver since John Elway did so. We'll see if Sean Payton's got his quarterback. He thinks he does. Bo Nix's first start coming up in Seattle against the 12th man. All right. Now we're getting to the good stuff. Tier number 2, the Steelers are at the Falcons. I think this is interesting because the Steelers are always pretty good, and I think Atlanta's going to win the NFC South. We'll see if they can get off to a good start. Hopefully not for those Saints fans that are listening out there. The Steelers are 15-2-1 all-time against Atlanta. That's a ridiculous mark. Since entering the league, no quarterback has been sacked more than Russell Wilson. Matthew Judon making his debut for Atlanta. We'll see if he can get back there to danger Russ. The Texans are at the Colts, AFC South showdown. The Colts have lost 10 straight openers. That is not good. It's the longest streak in the NFL. Are the Texans a Super Bowl contender? Well, I kind of think they might be. TJ Stroud looked pretty damn good last year, so we'll see what that looks like in Indianapolis. The Cowboys go up to Cleveland to face the Browns. Dallas is starting 2 rookies on the offensive line. You know who's not a rookie? Myles Garrett. He's scary. We'll see if they can keep Dak Prescott upright there in Cleveland. The Commanders are at the Buccaneers. It's Jaden season, y'all. Jaden Daniels starting his career down in Tampa. The Bucs blitzed the 3rd most of anybody in the NFL last year. Not apples to apples, but Jaden last year against the blitz at LSU,
pretty good.
17 touchdowns, no interceptions. So we'll see if they come after the young rookie in Tampa, fired up for Jaden to get his first start. Ending up in Tier 2 here, the Rams are at the Lions. Jahmyr Gibbs is going to play. He's been dealing with a hamstring injury Lions were really good last year. Their fans are riding high. Can they get off to a good start against Matt Stafford, who will return to Detroit in this one? And then Tier 1, the must-see television over the weekend. They got the primetime slots. The Packers are playing the Eagles at 7:15 tonight. Some Brazilian soccer club wouldn't let the Eagles wear green because they don't like green, and the home team can't wear green, so the Eagles have to wear black and white, which looks stupid. The Packers got shredded by running quarterbacks last year. They were 29th in the league in giving up yards to opposing running quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts, he runs a little bit. They should probably look out for that. Matt LaFleur against the number as an underdog, 29-7 as a head coach in Green Bay. That is pretty salty. Might want to take a look at the Packers there. Then finally, the Jets are at the 49ers on Monday Night Football. The Niners led the NFL in yards per play last year. The Jets led the NFL in yards per play allowed last year. It's the first time since the merger that those two teams have faced off in a season opener the year after posting those stats. The Jets allowed the fewest passing yards to wide receivers since 2016 last year. That defense, Sauce Gardner, all those guys are bad, bad dudes, and now Aaron Rodgers is in the fold. I don't know that I don't like the Jets to go out there to San Francisco and win. That is perfect timing on the music. We wrap up beautifully there.
Wow.
On your NFL tiers list.
Almost like we planned it.
Didn't plan it at all. We would have just restarted it if it didn't happen, but it sounded good. We probably shouldn't tell people when something like that happens.
We probably shouldn't.
It's good.
We did, though.
What game's got your attention this weekend on the NFL slate?
Yeah, I like the Jets game as well. I think that's with what happened with Aaron Rodgers last year, everyone wants to see if this Jets team can actually be a playoff contender with Aaron Rodgers playing quarterback. And it's a good test, man. I mean, the 49ers obviously in the Super Bowl last year, so this is going to be a big time game. I think a lot of people are going to be watching it, and so for me, it's the Jets and 49ers, man. I really want to see what Aaron Rodgers can do with his team.
I like the situation for Jaden here because Jaden, there's no expectation in Washington as far as the team goes.
No.
If he bombs out and plays like Bryce Young did, there will be people that are really upset about that. But like as far as like the team's wins and losses, I don't think Washington is all keyed up on that. They just don't have the roster yet. But so I like that Jaden has the keys to the car, and they're not expecting him to drive too fast, basically. Like Caleb Williams, like the Bears should make the playoffs this year. They have a good defense. They got playmakers everywhere. I don't know what the offensive line is going to look like, but like Caleb Williams is expected to go in there and start winning games on Sunday. I don't know that everyone feels that way about Jaden, so I think it's a good spot for him there. Also interested in Cowboys at Browns because that Browns defense is nasty, and I think the Cowboys offense is really fun to watch. So we'll see. We'll talk some more about the Saints and Panthers coming up in hour number 2. That's getting you ready for the weekend to come in the National Football League. What do we feel about playing in Brazil tonight?
Yeah, that's a tough scene, man. They're not.
You can't tweet.
Yeah,
you can't wear green jerseys.
Can't wear green. Yeah, I don't have too much of a problem with it. However, when we're going somewhere like Brazil, where the travel causes so many problems with the team, and then the next week and going into next week and all this stuff, so it doesn't make too much sense to me. I don't really understand.
Well, it's just money. They just want money. They want to go places and sell merchandise and put a different TV window and the whole deal. The thing that ticks me off about it is like those two fan bases are incredible.
Yes.
The Packers travel all over the place. Their fans own the team. It's just it's the whole city runs around the Packers, and then the Eagles fan base is out of their minds, but they're great. And now you're taking a game away from the Eagles. It just drives me nuts.
I think that is I think you just explained why they chose those teams though, because they know how passionate and caring those fan bases are, and they're going to be willing to travel. I mean, I'm looking at the schedule right now on ESPN. It's got the ticket prices. It says tickets as low as $872 for that game.
Let me just tell you, I'm not going to Brazil to watch LSU play.
No.
I'm not going to Brazil probably ever, and that's just fine with me. I think there's probably some people that roll their eyes going, oh, incredible beaches and great meats and awesome culture. I'm not going to Brazil. Just not happening. If LSU plays in Ireland, I'll think about it. I'm not going to Brazil.
You're going to go to Ireland, Hunt. Are you kidding me?
I mean, if I can play golf.
Exactly.
I'm probably going to be working.
Well, yeah, but if you got to get there early, obviously, a few days. I mean, it's a long, a lot of travel, so you got to have a few extra days to prep and everything.
I'll talk to the program director.
Yeah,
we'll see how things go. All right, let's wrap up hour number 1 coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Safety, safety, safety. The bathroom can be a very hazardous place, especially for those that are aging. If there's a loved one in your life that's aging, wants to stay home, but you can see that there could be some issues in the bathroom, have David Duvall and his team at One Bath and Closets come out. They can put in non-slip floors. They can put in handrails around those tricky areas. They can put in a walk-in tub. They can put benches in the shower. They can do all those things to make the bathroom a less hazardous place. That's something you're interested in. Get that free consultation today. Go to onebathandclosets.com and get David Duvall involved. He'll come over, start you out with the questionnaire, understand what you want, how they can do it. Their financing options are available, and they're going to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. Tell them the Hunt Palmer Show sent you. You can get $1,000 off of your project. Tell them the Hunt Palmer Show sent you over there. Check out the consultation and check out the awesome reviews of their work and check out the pictures of their great work all at the website, onebathandclosets.com. It's David Duvall and his team at One Bath and Closets, onebathandclosets.com.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
It's an everyday thing here. We work horses in the mornings and we work on the property during the day, and without these John Deere tractors, it'd almost be impossible to keep up with the place. I've dealt with some of the other colors and stuff, and I never really got the response back that I get from John Deere, We really enjoy dealing with Sunshine. They're good people. They always check on us and make sure our equipment's running, and we love them. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Closing up hour number 1 here, Hunt Palmer Show on this Friday. We're brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. Get on by there for a late lunch or dinner this evening. Fantastic crispy fried catfish, golden jumbo Gulf shrimp, shoestring fries, honey butter rolls, beignet bites, crawfish etouffee, po' boys. They got it all over there at Corks. Go check them out. Saw a very welcome sight yesterday on my way home. Some tents going out on campus. It was raining, and obviously the tents don't have the top on them. You just put the skeletons out there, whatever you would call that. But it's it just means that it's time for a home game. And I realized that just like the last 4 years, like the air is out of the balloon a little bit because you've lost the opening game. That's just the way it goes in this sport. It doesn't happen as much in the other sports, but in this one it definitely does. But I still expect it to be a fantastic day on campus tomorrow. Like, I just think vibes are going to be good. The weather's supposed to be fantastic. There's not a lot of stress involved in the game. You're going to beat Nicholls by 60, so it doesn't really matter. It's just going to be time for everybody to get out there, fire up the grills, get the cooking going, get the ice chests out of the truck, and make a day out of it. It should be an awesome day. We want to get you caught up on our broadcast schedule, those that are just getting back into the swing of things. 5 hours before kickoff is when Guarantees coverage begins. So over on Eagle 98.1, but simulcast here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge at 1:30 from Rouse's, Burbank, and Lee. Charles Handgriff and Matt Musso are going to have Eagle 98.1 Game Day's pregame show, 1:30 to 4:30. 4:30 they hand it off to the LSU Sports Radio Network. That is myself, Brandon Taylor, and Marlon Favorite. We'll start the pregame show over from between the ramps of the Assembly Center. We'll go for 90 minutes from 4:30 to 6 o'clock. I'll hand it off to the broadcast team in the stadium. That's Gordy Rush, Jacob Hester, and the voice of the Tigers, Chris Blair. They'll have the call of the game. 30 minutes after it goes final, we're back on the LSU Sports Radio Network post-game show. Me, Brandon, and Marlon will be with you for an hour. 90 minutes after the game goes final, Charles Handegriff right back here with Richard Dixon in studio for the post-game show for, I guess, 2 hours after we're done. So it's a full day. It goes from 1:30 to like 2 o'clock in the morning all day long with your LSU football coverage. So lock us in for as much of that as you possibly can. In terms of things to watch for in this game, I think we've basically covered the main two talking points. It's the running backs and how they handle that, and certainly Caden Durham and if Jawan Johnson gets out there. And then it's the youngsters in the secondary, and that's something that we have talked about all week. It's something that if you've listened at all, or if you've read LouisianaSports.net at all, you know at this point. I think there is a youth movement coming in this LSU secondary. I think the more quickly the young players can get up to speed and get out there, the better LSU has a chance of playing. Now, you're going to take your lumps, but there are proven lumps with some of the guys that have been out there for the last 2 years. That's not proven with the young guys. Now, P.J. Woodland got a pass interference call last week, but he also made a play on the ball. Ashton Stamps is growing up a little bit, and I thought he played a pretty good game. Yeah, he got beat on the free play, little bit of a push off there, but that's just the nature of that position. He's not perfect. He's not going to be an all-conference player, but he's getting better. And I think the more quickly you can get Deshaun Spears and Kylan Jackson on the field at safety, the more quickly you upgrade your talent at that position. That's just the way I feel. Now, that I'm admitting some fault here, because that is the thing that everyone always wants to say about their team. Put in the young player who's never screwed up before. The backup quarterback's always the most popular guy, right? And that's basically what I'm clamoring for, the backup player at all these positions to outperform the starting player. And trust me, I don't think the coaches are intentionally putting lesser players out on the field. They're putting the guys out there who practice the best and have put the best performances forward and are a little bit more mature. And that's a natural thing to do, obviously. But I just think the talent level of some of the younger players gives LSU a better chance. It's not right now. They're not ready to go right now. But as we keep talking about, and I can't stress this enough, so I don't feel bad repeating myself over and over again, like, this is a month of development for LSU. It has to happen. They have an opportunity because of the schedule and the way it lays out to develop over the next month. The next 4 teams on this schedule are not good. Nicholls is good in the Southland. They're not good in Tiger Stadium. South Carolina is not good. UCLA is not good. South of Alabama is a lower-level team. You ought to whitewash them. Like, this is your month before the bye to get rolling, because Ole Miss is going to come in here riding real high, and they're going to have a coach that's ready to score 60 at a given second. They got a quarterback that's slinging it all over the place. He's a real veteran. And last time they came in here riding high, they got knocked down a peg. They're going to remember that. And so you've got a month to get ready for that game. And that's basically what tomorrow starts. I don't care about the score. I don't care about the offensive line knocking Nicholls out of the way. That doesn't tell me that you're getting better. I don't really care about Garrett Nussmeier's stat line. Like, nothing material from the statistics and the results of the game matters against Nicholls. And you can't really learn anything. I'm not going to go out there in this game against Nicholls and suggest that someone's made massive improvements. In fact, the only thing you can confirm against Nicholls is negative stuff. If you can't do it against Nicholls, you can't do it against Ole Miss. Just because you can do it against Nicholls doesn't mean you can do it against Ole Miss. You can only confirm the negative in a game against Nicholls. So I'm just looking for those guys to get some experience and understand that tomorrow is a start of a journey here of 4 months to get better before things ramp up. LSU's fortunate that they've got that opportunity, Obviously, you didn't have it last week, and it has showed the last 4-5 years. But that's the start of this journey. I'm curious to watch it with the understanding that, hey, you're playing an FCS team that's completely outmanned. But for the fans' perspective, get out there, tailgate, enjoy it. If you're not going out to the game or the tailgate and you're just watching on TV, enjoy the no stress of these games. I've got a piece coming up on LouisianaSports.net tomorrow called Station Survey where we poll everybody and we ask what are you kind of looking for in these games. And Matt Moscona's first line is, I'm looking forward to LSU never playing these games again. And there are a lot of people that feel that way, and you're definitely not wrong. 68-0 is not all that fun. The Grambling game, not all that fun. Southern the year before that, not all that fun. McNeese the year before that, not all that fun. This is not going to be all that fun in terms of energy and drama. But it's an opportunity for LSU to go out there and continue to progress. And that's what you're kind of looking for when the dust settles. We'll move on, and they'll go play conference play next week. I'll give you one more key before we get out of here in this segment. I say this every year, and it doesn't become any less true. It's overly pessimistic. I understand that, but it's worth noting. If you get a targeting foul in the second half against Nicholls, you can't play in the first half of the SEC opener. I know Jordan Gilbert can't play in the first half of this game. I don't care. I care if you can't play against South Carolina. So the minute they give me a real headset, not the post-game one, the ones that the coaches have on, I will have all the starters sitting on the sideline with no pads on in the second half. But no one's going to give me that, so I'm hopeful that the staff gets that message. But no freaking targeting fouls in the second half against Nicholls for important teams. These things happen. You bump heads, you get a targeting foul. I don't want to see that. So make sure nobody out there gets a targeting foul in the second half. So that's my one key to the game coming up on Saturday night. So LSU and Nicholls, 6:30. As I mentioned, our pregame show coverage is going to come your way starting at 1:30 on Eagle 98.1 Game Day. That's it for hour number one. We're in our Friday routine now. Talk to LSU at the top of the show. Preston Guy joined us at 1:15. All that can be found at Hunt on LSU on YouTube or wherever you find your podcasts. You can search Hunt Palmer Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, or, of course, on YouTube. I always appreciate it if you like, subscribe, rate, and review. Went through our NFL tiers, getting you ready for the weekend that is in the National Football League. Should be a fun opening weekend. We got to talk about the Saints in hour number two as they get set to start the season with a huge game against Carolina in the Dome. I also got to give you my SEC picks against the point spread. Got off to a good start last week at 9-6. We'll start hour two with that. Also got take it or leave it, my final pick for Saints-Panthers and LSU and Nicholls. We'll do all that in hour number two. Come back with us after Sports Center. It is a Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has back-to-school savings like $16,000 off 25 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $16,000 off. All new Bayou vehicles come with a complimentary extended warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. NFL kickoff weekend continues tonight in Sao Paulo, Brazil, with the Eagles and the Packers. Free agent offensive lineman Taylor Lewan says the stakes are high tonight.
This week one for the Philadelphia Eagles has more implications than any other team in the entire NFL. When you start the season the way you did in 2023 and end the way you did, and now you go into this, you've lost Jason Kelsey and Fletcher Cox, 2 massive leaders into retirement.
Taylor Lewan on Get Up. Tonight is the first NFL game in South America and the first international season opening game. Bengals wideout Jamar Chase says he'll be a game-time decision for Sunday's opener against the Patriots because of what he calls an aggravating contract dispute. Chase is listed as questionable. Teammate T. Higgins is doubtful with a sore hamstring. Men's semifinal day at the U.S. Open. Coverage right now on ESPN. About to get started. Number 1 seed Jannik Sinner against Jack Draper. That'll be followed by the All-American semifinal between Francis Tiafoe and Taylor Fritz.
Why pay more for a great shave? Choose Barbasol, America's #1 brand of shaving cream. Barbasol's thick and rich lather gives you a close, comfortable shave for just half the price of gels. Barbasol.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Waiting to rise again.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour number 2, Football Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Hope your work week is in the rearview mirror. If not, we'll get you to the finish line here on ESPN Baton Rouge. We've still got a lot of local coverage coming your way. Of course, Matt, after further review, coming up from 3 to 6. Then we'll toss it to the high school show. The Louisiana Prep preview comes up at 6 o'clock, getting you ready for Catholic High football. And they'll be back for the Louisiana Prep scoreboard afterwards. Cade Wasson and his cast of thousands got you covered wall-to-wall in Louisiana high school sports this evening. I got a question for you, Beck. I'm looking up at ESPN2 right now, and NBA Today is on. What are they even talking about? Nobody wants to talk about the NBA on September the 6th.
Apparently, they're talking about if the Celtics still have a chip on their shoulder this upcoming season.
No one cares. Talk about football. They got 5,000 NFL games this week.
Yeah, that's a bit confusing as to why they would have a NBA
College Football
show
Live. What happened to that show? Put that back
on a Friday before the first weekend.
Here's
of
what
NFL.
you put on. You put on Reese Davis with Mark May and Lou Holtz. That's what you should put on right now. Get Windhorst out of here and put those guys on.
I don't know if Lou Holtz can still.
He's tweeting up a storm. He's fine.
I guess.
Get him out there. Do the final verdict. Get the robe on. The whole thing. That's what we need. That show was electrifying back in the day.
It was. However, I really disliked Mark May. I don't know why.
That's great. It's good entertainment.
It is.
He was smug and arrogant, and Holtz would yell at him, and it was fantastic. I loved that show.
It's true.
I don't even know what they do at night now. I'm always working. I'm always doing post game, and I have no idea.
I think they have a college football show, but I don't know when.
Oh,
it
do they
goes
do
on.
helmet stickers? And then like Matt Berry do it? I think that's true.
Maybe
I should know the answer to that, but like. I feel like at that time, LSU usually plays at night, and I don't get off the air until like midnight. By the time I get home, they're replaying the game from 8 o'clock or something. So I don't even know what they do. But I guarantee you, whatever it is they do isn't as good as college football final with Reese Davis, Mark May, and Lou Holtz. It's that chemistry was just incredible. I think it drove people nuts, but I thought it was fantastic. I'm not watching NBA today. They can get on with that. All right, let's do some SEC football against the spread. Cue the music. All right, 9-6 last week. That's a good start. We're dealing with huge point spreads most of the time this early in the season. It can be a little challenging, but we're going to get into it right here. Texas is at Michigan. That's the early game. That's the big game. Look, I don't believe Michigan is got staying power at the top of college football with no Jim Harbaugh. They've lost so many players to the NFL. I don't trust their roster right now. This is a statement game for Texas. I think Michigan's going to try to run it. Khalil Mullings is big, 6'2", 233. I just don't – Michigan is not going to be as physical as they were the last couple of years. They just lost too much of that. Look, it's a new Texas defensive line. I get that as well, but I like Texas. I'm going to lay the 7 points here with the Longhorns. That's going to be a theme of this show, by the way, as it was last week. I feel like a real sucker, but we're laying a lot of points this week. 11 o'clock as well. Arkansas heads to Stillwater to play Oklahoma State. Ollie Gordon is maybe going to get 30 carries in this game. He got 28 against South Dakota State. He never really busted one. I think he will bust one against the Arkansas front. It's a 10-point number. I think Arkansas stinks. I'm going to go with that until I'm proven wrong. Give me Oklahoma State. I'll lay the 10 points. McNeese is at Texas A&M. Aggies rebounding from a disappointing season-opening loss. 46.5 is the number here. McNeese only scored 23 on Tarleton State and 21 on Southern. They're not going to score 10 points on Texas A&M. They probably won't score any points on Texas A&M. The Aggies need to make Connor Wigman comfortable in this game. He was atrocious last week. That ought to be the game plan for Mike Elko. Colin Klein in that offense. Give me A&M. I'll lay the 46.5. They probably score 50, and I don't know if McNeese scores any. Tennessee Tech's playing Georgia at 1 o'clock. 54.5 is the number on this game. I just can't take these garbage teams. I tried it with Alabama A&M last week playing against Auburn. I was catching like 52 or something. They didn't cover. Georgia's going to cover the number, 54.5. If you're keeping track at home, we've picked 4 games. I have laid 118 points to this point. 2:30 ESPN 2, Cal at Auburn. Return trip. Auburn was out there last year. We get to see if these Auburn wide receivers are for real against D1 talent. It's ACC talent with Cal. Cal only averaged 2.3 yards per carry against UC Davis last week. That is not good. Jarquez Hunter's going to run the ball a lot for Auburn in this game. I just think they're a lot better than Cal. I have no respect for Cal football unless you can show me Aaron Rodgers taking snaps, which I don't think is going to happen. Give me Auburn. I'll lay the 12 points. I'm laying points every which way this week. True sucker bets. 2:30 on ABC. South Carolina and Kentucky in an SEC game. 8.5 is the number here. We might be seeing the beginning of the end of the Shane Beamer era in Columbia if this goes sideways. If Kentucky wins this game 28-7, you may be seeing the beginning of the end. We'll see. Now, Kentucky might not be good either. Kentucky held Southern Miss to 5 yards on 20 carries last week, rushing. South Carolina wants to ride Rocket Sanders. Maybe Kentucky's got a really good run defense. We'll see. 8.5, I'll take South Carolina, but I'm just warning you. This will be a discussion for next week when LSU plays South Carolina. If they get blown out in this game after last week's awful performance against Old Dominion, that will tell me they're terrible. That will tell me their coach is probably getting fired. We'll see. 3:15, Middle Tennessee at Ole Miss. 43 is the number. It's not enough. Jackson Dart, Lane Kiffin, they're going to score 70. That's just not enough points. I'm laying points every which way this week. It's disgusting. 6 o'clock kickoff, South Florida and Alabama. This one's not in Tampa. It's not in a rainstorm like last year. Jalen Milroe last week only threw the ball 9 times. Maybe we see more of that this week, but 31? I mean, what's Bama going to score, 50? they're gonna cover. I'll lay the 31. I'm laying points every game. 6 o'clock. It's Buffalo at Missouri, 34.5. It might be a look-ahead spot for Missouri with Boston College coming up next. Boston College, of course, beat Florida State. Give me Buffalo to cover the 34.5. I'll finally take some points here. I can exhale, but I'll take Buffalo. They probably won't cover. Sanford is at Florida. I don't see any line on this game, but DJ Lagway is starting for the Gators. Could be the start of a new era there while Graham Mertz is recovering from a concussion. At 6:30 on ABC, it's NC State and Tennessee from Charlotte. The Vols are laying 9.5 points in this game. Grayson McCall is somehow still in school. He is a sixth-year senior. He is quarterback now for NC State. Nico Iamaleava starting his first year as the starter for the Tennessee Vols. I don't love North Carolina State giving up 21 points to Western Carolina. I don't love North Carolina State trailing in the fourth quarter against Western Carolina. Look, these are two of the oldest offensive lines in college football. I think if Tennessee gets behind those guys, they're a handful. The Vols always start fast. They've outscored opponents 465 to 169 in first quarters under Josh Heupel. I'm big on Tennessee this year. Give me the Vols minus the 9. I don't see a line on Alcorn State and Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's going to win another game. They're going to be 2-0. Good for you, Doors. At 6:45, Houston is at Oklahoma. Houston got hammered by UNLV last week, 27-7. Willie Fritz has got some real work to do with that Cougars club. Oklahoma had 6 sacks and 9 tackles for loss last week. Look, 28 points is not a lot of points if you hold an offense down like I think Oklahoma's going to do to Houston. If UNLV can do it, Oklahoma can do it. I think it's an easy cover for Oklahoma. Give me Oklahoma minus the 28. That's like the lock of the century of the week on that one. The number 9:30 game, late game. I will get to watch some of this after postgame's over. Mississippi State is out at Arizona State. It's a 5.5-point number. The Arizona State Sun Devils are favored. They smoked Wyoming last week. Mississippi State's roster is just not very good right now, but I do think they can hang with the redshirt freshman quarterback in Arizona State. So give me Mississippi State to cover the 5.5. That's one of 2 that I'm taking of the underdogs. That is my SEC picks against the spread. Once again, we'll go through them. Give me Texas minus 7. Give me Oklahoma State minus 10. A&M minus 46.5. Georgia minus 54.5. Auburn minus 12.5. Give me South Carolina plus 8.5. Ole Miss minus 43, Bama minus 31, Buffalo plus 34.5. Then I got Tennessee minus 9.5. I've got Oklahoma minus 28 and Mississippi State catching 5.5. Am I laying too many points, Jacob Beck?
I don't think so. But based on what happened last week, I think they'll have similar outcome this week as well. The only one I'm a little questionable on is the Oklahoma and Houston one there.
That's my lock of the century of the week.
I know, but it's funny. It's funny you said that, but I just don't know about. I'm still questionable in Oklahoma, and they have a history of Houston and Oklahoma have a history. They've played a good bit against each other, and I think Houston will get up for that game. So even though they didn't play well last week, I still think that one is a bit of a that's
Sooners by 40.
Okay, we'll see.
By 40.
All right.
Houston got smoked by UNLV last week.
I know. But
look ahead spot for the Cougars. Are looking ahead to getting smoked by Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I got to work up some hatred for Texas and Oklahoma. I don't have enough of that yet.
It'll
come pretty quick.
It'll come.
Could come as early as November if Oklahoma comes in here and beats us bad. But until then, I'm just kind of indifferent about them. The only time I've watched Oklahoma play in person, I was a sophomore in high school and we won the national championship, and it was one of the greatest things ever.
There was some juice in that Texas game in 2019.
There was. Joe waving at the crowd, the whole deal. They're shooting the cannon off through his jersey.
Before the game started, LSU was drinking their water.
That's true. Is McConaughey going to be in Ann Arbor this week? That's really the question.
He's got to be, huh? He's the minister of culture for them. I mean,
the minister.
I don't think that's the exact title, but it's something like that.
Paying McConaughey?
No, he teaches a class.
I guess they're paying.
Teaches, quote unquote. I'm sure he's there for like 3 out of the 30 classes.
How many women are in that class?
Probably
70.
All
What's
of them?
the wait list like to get in that class?
Probably all of them.
Cassie, yes or no? Would you sign up for that class if Matthew McConaughey was the teacher?
Absolutely.
She's in.
There's no question.
I bet there's not even one dude in that class.
No, I would sign up for it too. I mean, it'd probably be a great.
Kicked out.
Probably
McConaughey's probably in there making sure there's no guys in the class.
He probably so.
Captive audience. All right, we come back. We'll talk a little bit about the Saints and the Panthers. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Audio, video, security solutions, avssla.com is the website. Tell me about their Instagram handle as well, because there's always some really, really great examples of the fantastic work that they do. It's AVSS_BR on Instagram. Go follow them and check out some of the things they do. If you've got an outdoor area, and now that the heat's kind of subsiding a little bit, you want to spend more time out there, you're out there on the grill, playing with the kiddos, whatnot, get some awesome speakers put out there. Hang a television out there. Make it a really, really great place to host people outdoors now that the fall and winter months are coming. We can host people outside in the winter because it's pretty mild down here. Audio Video Security Solutions is happy to help you with all of that. Mitchell Fisher and his local team give fantastic customer service, and it's a fantastic company. You can call Mitchell on his cell phone at 225-439-7920, 225-439-7920. You can check them out online at avssla.com. Remind you that they were the People's Choice Award for the best vendor at the Parade of Homes earlier this year. Once you see some of the capabilities that they have on the audio, video, security side, you'll be really, really interested, and you want to work with them and make sure that your house is the place to be during the football season and the holiday season, which will be here probably before we know it. It's Audio, Video, Security Solutions, avssla.com.
There's nothing chill about a hot, sweaty line. Unless you add Mountain Cold Refreshment. Coors Light. Choose chill.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. Don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property, so retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
We got to take it or leave it coming up in 15 minutes. So get my final pick for Saints-Panthers as well as LSU and Nicholls coming up at the end of the show. Hope your Friday is going awesome. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. The NFL season is upon us. Last night, a classic between Kansas City and Baltimore. Hair out of bounds on a potential game-tying touchdown, although it wasn't going to tie the game because the Ravens were going to go for 2, which I loved. But it was out of bounds, and the Chiefs moved to 1-0. Ravens fall to 0-1. Saints get things cranked up on Sunday, and I think the vibes are going to be really good in the Dome pregame. I think that people will be excited to get in there. The new renovations are going to look cool. Saints haven't lost a game yet. Nobody's jumped off sides yet. Everything's fine when they start the game. I'm concerned about once the game gets going. We talked to Luke Johnson yesterday, talked to Sharif on Tuesday. Like, things are tenuous between the city and the team right now. And if they go out there and they handle their business and they score 31 points and they win the game 31-17, everybody's going to feel good about things. If things get wobbly in the first half, that dome is going to come unglued. Like we saw it bubble over in the Detroit game last year, and there's just a lot of that energy that's still in the city. And so it's so important for a number of reasons for the Saints to get off to a good start. Because the margin for error with the fan base is almost zero. So what does this game look like on Sunday for New Orleans? Well, you've got a couple of teams that are breaking in new offenses. Dave Canales did a brilliant job with Geno Smith in Seattle, did a brilliant job with Baker Mayfield in Tampa, and now he's got Bryce Young. And the first thing that Dave Canales and the Panthers did with Bryce Young this year was go get 2 guards. Now, they're both with Louisiana ties. You got Damian Lewis, who was on the 2019 team as the starting right guard, and you went and got Robert Hunt, who I like a lot because my first name is Robert and my middle name is Hunt, and his name is Robert Hunt. And because of that, the commissioner of the NFL went up and said with the such and such pick in the NFL draft, I don't remember who it was, the Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins select Robert Hunt. And that's the closest I'll ever get to being drafted. So there's a soft spot in my heart for Robert Hunt.
Still crazy to me that your parents named you after a famous singer.
Yeah, I'm the 3rd straight Robert Palmer. Actually, and Myers is the 4th straight Robert Palmer, and none of them go by Robert. It's Bob, Rusty, Hunt, and Myers. And so none of them go by Robert. But there's 4 in a row that are named Robert Hunt. My dad's a junior. They cut that off with me, and then Myers just came from the other side of the family. But that's too much information for most of you. It is important, though, that the Panthers have fortified the interior of their offensive line for Bryce Young. And they're also going to implement a very, very quick passing game by all accounts. So the Saints are not going to have a ton of time to get back there to Bryce Young. You got to get hands up, and they've got to cover. I trust the Saints to cover. If there's anything I trust the Saints to do, it's cover. Okay? I don't know if they can pass block. I don't know if they can run the ball. I know they can cover. So that's going to be important for New Orleans in this game, but it should be a new look for the Panthers offense. It's also going to be a new look for the Saints on offense, and we simply haven't seen it. Ross Jackson, LouisianaSports.net, seen it. All the guys who went out to Irvine to training camp saw it. A lot of motion, a lot of movement, outside zone runs. Like, it's going to look very different from last year. I think you're going to see more of Taysom Hill in some different gadget spots. But whose transformation actually takes hold? Obviously, the Saints' concern is the offensive front. That goes without saying. And it's not awesome that you're dealing with Derek Brown and Jadeveon Clowney on the other side. Clowney's kind of resurrected his career a little bit. Brown's been a great player for a very long time. Those 2 guys are going to have to be huge difference makers for Carolina. If those 2 guys are neutralized by the Saints' offensive front, the Saints are going to win this game. They're going to score points, and they're going to be fine. If those 2 guys wreck the Saints' offensive line, kind of like we saw like Tennessee do last year in the opener, although Tennessee couldn't score, so the Saints won that game. But if it looks like that, trouble. Big, big trouble. Because Carr can't move, and you're not going to be able to run the ball, and you got issues. So there are going to be big transformations for these 2 offenses. Whichever one takes hold the best is going to come out on top in this game. I'll be watching Trevor Penning. We kind of put that storyline to bed for the last 3 weeks. It was on fire for the first 3 weeks of camp, and then we've kind of put it to bed. I told you that I don't think he can play the position. I don't think he can play in the NFL. I think playing right tackle is out over his skis. But he's going to be out there, and he's going to have to help. And if he has some big misses, that can be a huge, huge problem for this New Orleans Saints team. As far as problems that the Panthers could give the Saints, I don't see a ton. I like that matchup a lot with the Saints defense. I don't see a huge advantage for Carolina. The Saints defense is good on every level. I really trust the defensive front. I really trust the linebackers, assuming that Warner's ready to go. And I think the corners and safeties are going to be really, really good. There's one safety position that's not awesome, but I think they're going to be just fine. I think this game is going to be low scoring in the end because I don't think that the Saints are going to be able to block well enough, and I don't think the Panthers have a matchup that works for them offensively. This game, to me, is played around 20, Beck.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then just a few things. The Saints injury report did just come out a few minutes ago. So P. Werner, full participant in practice this whole week, so he is good to go. Nick Saldiveri is questionable. He was limited all week. That would be really, really tough if they lose him. And then Kalen Saunders is going to be out. He did not
we
practice.
knew that.
Week. Yeah, so Brian Brzee steps in there, and hopefully he can take. He played well last year.
He's going to be good.
He should be good.
He's going to be just fine.
Yeah, and then A.T. Perry is questionable. He didn't practice the last few days, so that could be a problem there for the third receiver spot.
Cedric Wilson probably going to take those reins, and
likely,
he's a veteran, so I think they'll be fine there. I like in this game, I'll give you my prediction at the end of the show. I like the Panthers and the points in this game because if you play around 20, that shrinks that margin, and 4 points feels like a lot in this game. This feels like a field goal or a 1 point game to me because I just don't trust these offenses. The one thing that I think the Saints are going to try to do is get Kamara to the edge, whether that's that outside zone run game that we're talking about or whether it's just getting him the ball with receptions. I think Kamara is a big-time fantasy guy this year because I think they're going to get him the ball a lot in some space with a screen game and with those outside zone running stuff. And I also think that Taysom Hill is going to be a huge piece here. We yelled and screamed and hemmed and hawed all last year because Taysom Hill would take over games, and then the next week he would get 4 carries. You've got this weapon. Put him on the field. Let him go play. Use him in the red zone. Use him in gadget plays. Do some different things and make teams have to prepare for all the different things that he can present to a defense. My sincere hope is that Clint Kubiak is smart enough to do that. I think he will be. You just did not see enough of that with Pete Carmichael. So, again, it's so important for the Saints to get off to a good start. You know what the schedule looks like. It's got to be a win on Sunday in the Superdome. I think it'll be a good crowd until it's not, if they can't get rolling against the Carolina Panthers. Beck, I'll give my pick at the end of the show. Where are you leaning with this game?
I'm leaning towards the Saints. I think the Panthers I still am very unsure of Bryce Young. I mean, he was not very good last year. I'm not sure he's going to take too much of a step forward. Maybe he will. But the Panthers just they never have any continuity. The owner there, David Tepper, he just fires coaches every single year. They can't
quote George Costanza. He fires people like it's a bodily function.
Exactly, and so it's just so hard for a guy to mesh. He's going to have a new coach now, so it's going to be taking even longer for them to get settled in to run this offense. And then I think the Panthers defense is actually pretty good. They've got some good guys on the defensive line. I mean, Jadeveon Clowney, Shaq Thompson is a good linebacker, but I think the Saints can score. I think they can score 23 in this game, and I think that's enough. The Saints
23 will be enough to win.
It will be, and I think they can, and I think they can hold the Panthers to maybe 17. So I think it's 23-17.
As cranky as the fan base is, as cranky as I may be, as cranky as Moscona may be, as cranky as T-Bob may be, as cranky as things are, the Saints defense can be fine. They're going to be fine, and against this quarterback and this personnel on offense, they will be just fine. The Panthers will not score 30 points in this game. That is not an option in this game. If the Panthers are going to win it, they're going to dominate the Saints offensive line. They're going to do just enough on offense, get a turnover, and they're going to win it 24-20. That's the only path I see for the Panthers. The Saints, I think, have a chance to separate in this game, but I think it's going to be really tight at the end, and so I'll give you my pick coming up at the end of the show. But I do think that the Panthers are to play in Vegas with that 4-point number because I just think that's too big if this game plays out like it probably should. So we'll see. Panthers and Saints coming up at noon on Sunday. You can listen to that over on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. We do have the rights to the Saints games once again. All right, we still got 30 minutes to go on this edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Friday shows always brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Heading out to tailgate for the LSU game on Saturday, heading down to tailgate in New Orleans on Sunday, or you're watching the game at home and have some folks coming over. Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp, fantastic catering option. They got big trays of that crispy fried catfish, big trays of those jumbo Gulf shrimp, big trays of French fries, honey butter rolls. All that can be yours over there at Cork's. I tell you that every single week in football season, but also if you're looking to feed the office, bring lunch in for something, lunch and learn or something like that, you can absolutely have Corks come over and do that. They do it all the time. Fantastic feeding people in bulk. They're on government between Foster and Jefferson. They've been bringing you our Friday shows for a year and a half now, and we certainly appreciate them. Awesome fried catfish and fried shrimp. And if you're in the mood for a po' boy, got a good one of those as well over there at Corks. Come back and we'll play some Take It or Leave It for our final pick. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is the website. Insurance is not a super fun thing to talk about, but it's important, especially when bad things happen. Trying to prevent catastrophe here, whether that's a hurricane, whether that's a huge cyber breach, whether that's a car accident that does some damage. If you don't have the proper coverages in place, it could be really, really bad for your business. That's why Jonathan Carver and his team believe you've got to trust in your insurance agent. They have to be part of your team, just like an attorney is part of your team, just like your CPA is part of your team. Your insurance broker should be that as well, and that's what they pride themselves on at Highland Insurance Group. Whether it's property and casualty, whether it's your employee and group benefits, they are your one-stop shop for all things insurance. Check them out online at highlandig.com. It's another thing that I always tell you, like, if you're just looking to cut your insurance costs by 20%, this is probably not the phone call that you're going to make. That's not why they're here, and that's generally not the best way to go about handling your insurance program. Make sure that it's correct and understanding your risk. That's what they'll do for you at Highland Insurance Group. And online at highlandig.com, property and casualty and employee and group benefits. It's Highland Insurance Group, highlandig.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
The NFL is back. Tune in Sunday at noon as the Bengals and Joe Burrow host the New England Patriots, followed by the Raiders and Chargers at 3 p.m. and Jim Harbaugh's debut as the head coach there at 3. That's going to be at 3 p.m. And then the Rams and Lions at 7:20. We've got 3 games for you, back to back to back for your home. And the NFL is 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, 30 minutes to go here on a Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, working towards the weekend. Appreciate you hanging out with us. First home weekend of the season for the Bayou Bengals, LSU and Nicholls, 6:30 tomorrow inside Tiger Stadium. We're fired up to see the Tigers back at their home after a tough opener last week. We'll give you picks on Saints and Panthers as well as LSU and Nicholls at the end of the show. But right now, let's play some Take It or Leave It.
All right, first one here. Jaden Daniels, I hope this is true, will go for over 350 total yards in Tampa on Sunday because he's on my fantasy team. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. That's a good number. I think it'll be close to that. He throws for 280 and runs for 70. That gets you there. That's a lot of running for an NFL quarterback, but I do think he's going to run a little bit. He's not going to be faster than everybody on the field like he was oftentimes in college last year. I don't expect it to look quite like the Florida game every single week, but he still has enough speed to outrun linebackers to the corner to go get 7 or 8 yards. He needs to get on the ground when he does run, and I think he's going to be really good at throwing the football. I don't know, admittedly, a ton about Washington's offensive front. So that's just going to be a work in progress. He can mask some of that with his athleticism, but I thought that Jaden Daniels last year did everything you could possibly want in an NFL quarterback prospect. We think of him as this elite athlete who's playing quarterback, and that doesn't always translate to the NFL. But the fact of the matter is that his decision-making, his accuracy, his efficiency last year from inside the pocket was absolutely unbelievable. I mean, he was surgical every single week, never really put the ball in harm's way, got it out of his hands very quickly, was accurate all over the place from the deep ball to the short stuff. I think that's I think he's going to have a great NFL career. Everything he did in Baton Rouge looked like to me like it translated to the NFL. So I'm pulling for him on Sunday. Hopefully things go well. And Saints fans can pull for him on Sunday. They're playing a division rival of the Saints in Tampa.
I'm looking at the line right now for his total passing and rushing yards, and he's currently plus 110 for 275 or more. So that's pretty low.
That feels low to me.
Plus,
I mean, maybe he's only going to run for 25.
Maybe
and then all
so.
of a sudden, that's very possible. I mean, I'm not. Again, I'll probably have to know a little bit more about the Washington offensive front.
Yeah. All right, moving on here. Jakeem Stewart has reportedly left and unenrolled at St. Augustine, New Orleans to enroll at IMG Academy. That's not good news for LSU. Take it or leave it.
I'll leave it. I don't know that. I mean, that's not as big a deal, I wouldn't think. You know, I like him at St. Augustine because obviously LSU's got a great relationship with St. Aug, and they've turned out some incredible players from St. Aug.
Frank Wilson, really good at
Frank Wilson,
New Orleans.
He's pretty good at recruiting St. Aug. Got a little history there at St. Aug. But look, he's going there for a couple months. Like, I just don't think that's going to completely rip out his roots. If you're not familiar with Jakeem Stewart is potential. Oh no, he's not. He's only a junior.
Yeah.
So he's going to be there for a year and a half. Still, though, that's his roots are in New Orleans. That's a guy that LSU's still going to recruit really hard. It's going to make it a little more difficult, maybe, for him to get to campus on Saturdays. So maybe you could say that's a negative, but it's not like LSU's going to lose their relationship with him or that his family's going to be gone from the city of New Orleans. LSU's recruited IMG Academy as well, so he's the #1 player potentially in the country, and he's apparently the real deal. I wish he was still at St. Aug, but I don't think it's some kind of massive issue for LSU to go recruit a player from IMG Academy. LSU's done okay in the state of Florida. I think they'll be just fine.
Yeah, I mean, there's been guys that moved from Louisiana to IMG, and the LSU still kept them. So not too worried about it, in my opinion. Moving on, I'm worried about this, though. Nicholson Drive is ready for 100,000 cars this weekend. Take it or leave it.
I'll leave it. Right now, it's not. They've been working, but I'll tell you, in the last 72 hours, they have made a lot of progress on Nicholson, and I have to think this weekend was on their mind.
Why.
Like,
yeah.
The way that Nicholson was the shape that it was in 3 weeks ago was completely untenable for a game day traffic. It wasn't even great for a morning commute.
No, it wasn't.
Much less.
And it was like that for probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 months, maybe even longer.
Not great, but they have paved most of it. It's still you don't have the center line or the outside lines on most of it, but I think we can all figure that out.
Yeah.
It's going to be a nice road to drive on here pretty quickly when it's all done, but right now it's not quite all done. I'd say they're probably 95% done, and they're going to manage through it at one point or not. But I don't love Nicholson's odds. I never loved Nicholson's odds. I don't love their odds tomorrow.
Yeah, I just actually drove on Nicholson yesterday, and they still the crossovers are still not paved. So and some of them are blocked off. I don't know.
You got to go up to get on the new paved stuff and come down.
Yeah,
also, I have a nail in my tire, which I forgot to fix it.
Oh, that's good.
I'm a little irritated by that. It's a slow leak, so we're okay. But I forgot I'm gonna have to deal with that.
Get it plugged
this weekend.
Moving on, Tiger Stadium's new LED lights. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. I think they're going to look fine. Obviously, I haven't seen them yet, and we'll see. What that looks like on Sunday. I think they'll have a lot of opportunities to play the LED lights because I think that LSU's going to score a lot of points and make a lot of plays on defense against an outmanned team. But I'm for it. Like, y'all know that I'm fairly traditional. I think that's fair to say. But I do think the LED lights are going to be cool, and so I'm excited to get in there and see what it's all about tomorrow.
I can go either way. I've seen a lot of stadiums are doing this, and it seems like it just become one of those things where all stadiums like feel, well, they have it, so we got to have it. It's like keep up with the Joneses.
You know what didn't work and I wasn't there. Those people that were there are probably more aware of this, but they did the pyrotechnics in Vegas last week. And there's a roof on it. It didn't dissipate for like 2.5 quarters.
It was like fog.
You could see the fog on the TV copy. I'm sure it was even worse if you were there in person.
Yeah.
Can we consider that where we shoot off a bunch of fireworks inside that maybe some smoke might be an issue while they're trying to play a football game?
Yeah, that's tough.
People not thinking out there.
Yeah, not great. But moving on to the next one here. Anthony Rizzo returns to Chicago today as the Yankees' first baseman. He's had a bit of an up and down time there, but he's your all-time favorite Cub. Take it or leave it.
I gotta leave it. My childhood guy is Sammy. Right. That's the guy that got me into the Cubs. I probably don't become a Cubs fan if Sosa doesn't hit 66 home runs in 1998. They were on every afternoon on WGN, and I would watch it while I was home in summer, and I was just hanging on every Sosa at bat, and that made me into a Cubs fan. Quite literally. This sounds dramatic. His 1998 season quite literally changed my life. I have become a diehard Cubs fan because of watching that every day in the summer as a 10-year-old. So he's got to be my favorite because it's childhood and it's just more impactful. But from that run, which is the greatest run in the history of the Chicago Cubs, Rizzo's number one on that list. He was the captain. He's the one who tried to fight the entire Reds dugout when the Cubs were on the come. He caught the last out of the World Series. He was the captain of that team. Bryant was great. Baez was great. Hendricks, Lester, all those guys were fantastic. I love Dexter Fowler as well. But I just saw the reception he got pregame and for his first at bat, which they actually played his walk-up song for his first at bat. It gave me chills just looking at it. That guy was the heart and soul of the greatest era of Cubs baseball ever that I got to witness. And they need to retire his number the second he hangs it up from professional baseball.
Yeah. Speaking of jersey retirements, though, I saw that USC retired Caleb Williams' jersey already, which is
that's pretty quick.
Pretty quick. Not to mention the fact that they weren't that good as a team.
Yeah, but you win the Heisman.
Yeah,
it's a pretty big deal. Now
right.
USC's got a lot of Heisman winners, but that's a pretty big deal. So that's a quick move. I would imagine Burrows comes somewhere in the next 5 years. They've got to do that at some point.
LSU seems pretty. They've always been pretty reluctant when it comes to jersey retirements.
Pretty
slow.
9 is a slam dunk.
No, it is. I know. I just don't know how long it'll take.
What about 5?
That I think is hard. I think LSU. I wouldn't put it past LSU.
It's
maybe
so
not.
unfair to Jaden.
He
was so good, and that defense was so criminally atrocious that we have to have this discussion.
It is tough
because he, productivity-wise, was just about as good as Joe.
Yeah,
and he had to do everything. Burrow didn't have the pressure to go score every time he had the ball. Jaden had to score a touchdown every time they had the ball, or they were going to lose by 20.
Yeah, it's tough, man. My vote would be obviously yes. I think most fans would as well. But
I'm okay with having the standard of you got to win the freaking Heisman. You win the Heisman, we can do it. I don't really care what the record.
Unless LSU just starts having quarterbacks winning Heisman every few years, then we got to maybe raise the standards a little bit.
I'm willing to deal with that problem.
That'll be nice.
If we have too many Heisman winners,
that'll be a good problem.
I will deal with that problem.
All right, last one here. Speaking of Joe Burrow may be missing his top 2 targets in the season opener against the Patriots. T. Higgins is listed as doubtful with the hamstring, and Jamar Chase is listed as questionable for rest, quote unquote. I just saw Chase said it was up to him if he's going to play or not, but no Higgins or Chase. Take it or leave it.
I'll leave it. I got to think Jamar's going to play.
Yeah, I think
this is purely a contract situation. It's my least favorite thing in sports, but I understand it. These guys are playing the game for money, and while I want them to just want to be out there for the team and deal with the money secondary, that's just not realistic. And certainly I'm not in a position here to turn down $40 million like that. Depending on what the offer is and how far apart the Bengals are, you could be talking $10, $20 million here. And I'm just not in a position to tell Jamar Chase to shut up and go play. So I think that he will play. He's been keeping himself in shape. There's certainly a difference between game shape and just running on the levee or something. But I just got to believe he's going to play since there's no injury here, and they'll work on a contract at some point. So hopefully Jamar's out there. I mentioned it in my my first segment back. Not my first segment, the NFL segment. The Bengals are 1-7 in games in weeks 1 and 2 with Burrow at quarterback.
They weren't good.
That's got to change.
Yeah.
And usually it's because Burrow can't practice. He's got appendectomy or he strained his calf or whatever the case may be. He needs to get back, and they gotta win some games. They get a layup this week, as layups go in the NBA. I'm looking at the NBA up here. In the NFL, they get New England, who I think is going to be atrocious, and it's at home. They ought to win the game.
As they say, Hunt, any given Sunday.
Any given Sunday is what they say, but not many Sundays for the Patriots. They're
no, not many.
Not very good. So, who's your all-time favorite Cub?
I was thinking about it. It's not going to be someone that many people know. I did tell you I have his jersey, but Darwin Barney.
God!
Listen, Hunt. Listen, okay.
What on earth?
Okay, listen. You have to let me explain here, okay?
I'm letting you explain.
I understand that Darwin Barney was not very good. He won a Gold Glove.
He did win a Gold Glove.
He was one of. And here's the thing.
You like his name, Darwin Barney. No, that's why you like.
No, it is a great name. It's an all-time name. However, that's not the thing. Whenever I first became a Cubs fan, I think it was a few years before he started playing, but just watching the Cubs teams were not good when he was there either.
They were terrible.
And Anthony Rizzo was there as well, but I just loved watching him play second base, man. He was so good, and it sounds stupid, but for some reason I really liked him, okay? I don't know why.
That's like saying my favorite LSU Tiger baseball player is Tyler Hanover. Like just some.
You can't. It's everybody. Everybody has. It's up to you who your favorite is. It doesn't have to be somebody that was really good. Okay, it doesn't.
My favorite LSU basketball player is
Storm Warren.
That's an incredible pull.
It's not he's not my favorite, but player. It would be funny too.
That's exactly. I mean, come on, give me somebody. Like I thought you were going to say something like Kyle Hendricks.
No, I do like Kyle Hendricks a lot. Honestly though.
Where did Darwin Barney play college baseball?
Arizona Oregon State, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Well done.
And he's my favorite player. I gotta know.
You better know that.
I'm not certain he's my favorite, but that's just the first thing that came to mind. I don't know why. Maybe just because I have his jersey, but I just really liked him.
My favorite LSU football player is Russell Gage. Just can't get enough. Just a random pull.
It is. I know.
All right, let's take one more time out. We'll come back and pick games. That's it at the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Neil and Melissa, 40 years in the business down there in the 985, but they've got a new location in the 225. You can call them at 225-300-9389, or you can call the same number they've had for 40 years down there in Napoleonville. It's 985-397-1562. Why would you call Boudreaux's Electrical? You would call them because they can install a Generac home standby generator that gives you the peace of mind of knowing that your power is not going to go out. Whether you work from home or you just want to make sure you don't have the inconvenience of the power going out on you. Power can go out for any reason. Somebody can run into an electrical pole. Hurricanes can come through here. You got those nasty afternoon storms. Give yourself the peace of mind of knowing that's not going to happen to you. It's an incredible, powerful thing, and I'm never going to tell you about some VIP premium package that Boudreaux's Electrical is offering for extra money. That's not how they do business. Once you're a customer at Boudreaux's Electrical, they're going to treat you like a VIP. That means full-time employees coming out to do your installation. That means most of the installation is done underground so that it looks nice. That means a 7 to 10-year warranty on your generator. That means monitoring your generator remotely so that they make sure that it's ready to go when that time arises. It's a home standby Generac generator from the folks at Boudreaux's Electrical. Give them a call, 985-397-1562. That is Boudreaux's Electrical.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Oshner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
All right, let's close up shop here on a Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Always invite you to head over to LouisianaSports.net, our new print venture here at Guarantee Media. I'm handling things on the LSU side of things. Ross Jackson handling things on the Saints side of things. And we're going to have a ton of content for you over there this weekend. I'll have pregame story up. I'll have a story up briefly at halftime. I'll have a postgame wrap-up, and then a column over at LouisianaSports.net for LSU and Nicholls. Ross Jackson will take the baton from me, and he'll be there for your wall-to-wall Saints opener coverage from the Dome against Carolina. So if you're looking for columns, looking for featured stories, news, got some fun gambling picks that are up there right now. Chris Marlar's got you covered on the SEC front, plus he's got his big picks energy up there right now with a lot of college football plays. All that is free and available for you to read on LouisianaSports.net. We appreciate you all for supporting us in that endeavor. It's been a fantastic first couple of weeks over there at .net, and we're just getting started. Now time to pick the LSU and Nicholls game. There's not a lot of drama to be had in this one. Look, Nicholls is completely outmatched, and dealing with FCS versus FBS is just not a very fun endeavor. The FCS teams need the check at this point, and the SEC teams go ahead and cut the check, and then they go out there and win by 70, and everybody goes home, and they go their separate ways. That's kind of the issue here. And as we talked about entering the game against USC out in Vegas, like whatever taste was left in your mouth after that game is still going to be there in 2 weeks, because nothing really can be gained by playing Nicholls. You just can't take anything from that. It's NFL-type players against guys who are playing at the FCS level. It just doesn't translate. And so, no, you didn't feel any better when LSU trounced Southern by 1,000 last year. You were still stinging from that loss to Florida State at the last play of the game. Last year when LSU beat Grambling by a bajillion, you weren't feeling any better after Florida State had kind of smacked LSU. You're not going to feel any better about the loss to USC by whatever LSU does against Nicholls. That's just not the case. But you're going to get some young guys out there, going to get some running backs a chance to play that haven't done much in Caden Durham and Juwan Johnson. You're going to get some youth out there in the secondary to get their feet wet. Deshaun Spears will play, Kylan Jackson will play, PJ Woodland will play. All those guys will be out there, and you'll see kind of what LSU can do. I'll tell you this, the energy in that building at LSU right now is good. The guys have had a really good week of practice, according to everybody that I've talked to. We talked to some of the players on Tuesday night, and they were in great spirits. It's been a good week for LSU, and they're excited about getting out there on the field for the season opener. I think you'll see a spirited effort from LSU. I think they'll run away from Nicholls, and I think everybody will go home happy. I've got a final score somewhere in the neighborhood of 60-7. It's just not all that interesting, and LSU will go into Southeastern Conference play. No targeting in the second half. I talked about that when I previewed the game in the first hour. Anybody that's targeting is not going to be able to play in the first half against South Carolina. Keep that off the stat sheet, and I think LSU wins huge coming up on Saturday. Should be a good day on campus. The weather's going to be nice, and we'll be on pregame at 4:30 over there between the ramps of the Assembly Center. If you're on campus, come on by and see us. We'll have games on the trailer, have food and drinks available there as well. So come on by and see us just across the street from Tiger Stadium between the ramps on LSU's pregame show. All right, now time to talk Saints and Panthers. It's a big one for the Saints. We understand that the schedule is very, very unforgiving early on post-Carolina, but this is about as good a gift as you can be given by the scheduling office. Like, you're looking at the worst team in the league from last year. You're getting them in your building. It is imperative the Saints get off to a good start. I've got this game as a low-scoring game. Why? Because I don't believe that either offense is going to get rolling. I think Carolina's defensive front with Derek Brown and Jadeveon Clowney is going to give a bad Saints offensive line some trouble, and LSU, the Saints are going to have to work around that. And I just don't think the Panthers offense has any good matchups for New Orleans. I don't think they're going to get Chuba Hubbard in the running game going against that Saints front. I think they're going to try to do a quick passing game. The Saints have really good corners that are not afraid to tackle out there, so I like the Saints there. I think there are going to be a lot of punts in this game. I think it's going to be a field position game, and I think it's going to be a field goal game, and that's why I think the play in Vegas is the Panthers here plus the 4 points. Saints got to get off to a good start. That fan base is a little bit cranky. Things can get a little bit wonky, and you just don't want that. You don't want the Panthers getting up 14-0 because you turn the ball over early. That place will come unglued. They are ready to start booing. They did it last year, especially in that Detroit game. They will do it again this year if you give them that opportunity. Just don't do that. I think it's going to be a close game in the fourth quarter, but I do think the Saints get it done late with the field goal at the gun potentially. I like the Saints to win a 20-14 type game, 20-17 type game. Or else I'd take the Panthers in the points. So 20-17, we'll call it that. That'll be my pick for Saints and Panthers on Sunday. Got to get off to a good start in that newly renovated Superdome. We'll be talking all of it on Monday's show. We're recapping LSU and Nicholls, getting you ready for the Southeastern Conference opener against South Carolina, and certainly recapping the Saints and the Panthers on Monday. That's it for our Friday show here. It's been a fun one. We had a good time early in the show, talked LSU, specifically the running backs, heard a little bit of sound from Brian Kelly. Preston Guy of TigerBait.com joined us like he does every single Friday. You can find that on YouTube at Hunt on LSU. Got you ready for the NFL slate on Sunday with our NFL tiers at 1:30. Second hour loaded up as well. SEC picks against the spread, 9-6 the first week of the SEC games. I'm laying a truckload of points this weekend, so we'll recap all of that on Monday's show. Had a breakdown of the Saints and Panthers and then a little bit of take it or leave it. If you missed today's show, you can always catch it on demand at 1045ESPN.com's On Demand tab. All of our shows are archived there each and every day. Find Off the Bench, Live at Lunch, Hunt Palmer Show, After Further Review. They're all there at 1045ESPN.com. You can find us wherever you find your podcasts as well, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, wherever you find your sound, you can find us, and certainly on YouTube. We're into football season now. The Saints are starting up. If you're looking for Saints content, Hunt on Saints. Looking for LSU content, Hunt on LSU. Reminder, Eagle 98.1 Game Day coming your way tomorrow at 1:30 as we get you ready for LSU and Nicholls. And we're back Monday with another edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Everybody have an awesome weekend. If you're headed out to campus, highly recommend you bring some corks out there. Enjoy the tailgate and enjoy the football. Have a great and safe weekend. Enjoy the weather. And we're back Monday, same time and same place. Matt's about to drive you home on After Further Review. It's been the Hunt Palmer Show.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental